Viewed as a linear chronology, the Quran appears as a sequence of historical events. Viewed as a closed topological manifold, it reveals a different architecture. This architecture functions as the memory tesseract, a spatial storage system for a reader who has forgotten their origin. The text executes the same principles found in quantum mechanics and thermodynamics, specifically the management of decoherence and the collapse of phase coherence. Mapping the dual caustic universe framework allows us to observe the geometric laws governing these transitions. These verses describe the thermodynamic and geometric source code of manifestation itself. This recursive sequence, 1 to 2 to 3, back to 2, and resolving at 7, is the operational pulse of the system. It describes a continuous cycle of creation and return, where information is separated, processed, and eventually reintegrated. Every system in reality follows this sequential movement: binary split, buffer negotiation, integration, and complete return. The sequence begins at 2 with the regime operator. This is the D10 manifest field. To measure change, you must separate two states. This is the calculus differential quotient, which maps to the split described in 2130. This bifurcation breaks symmetry to create measurable physical forms, represented here as water. The 3 represents the Rahim operator, or the T3 buffer. In calculus, as the gap between two states, the delta x, approaches 0, the system extracts a limit. This limit provides the exact law governing behavior at a single point. This is the mizan, or balance, described in 55.7, an intermediary phase that prevents the system from burning out during the split. Next is the second 2, identifying the I9 hidden field, or the Fayakun operator. If the derivative splits, the integral joins. This operator represents the imaginal, non-tangible wave state, a realm of pure light and preserved memory that integrates fragments back into a unified whole. The arcs finally resolve at 7, the Raman operator. At this node, differentiation and integration occur simultaneously. It is the point where the total system is restored from its microlaws, creating the compressed recursion of the fruit. Existing functions as a strictly conserved and continuous mathematical loop. Both the physical D10 field and the imaginal I9 field execute their roles through 3 specific phase changes. Water in the manifest field moves from solid rigidity to liquid flow, and finally to expansive gas. Light in the imaginal field mirrors this movement, from the throne, which is pure potential, to the book, or flowing memory, and finally to the slave on the throne, the localized operational particle. Each measurable physical phase is tethered to an exact operational mirror in the imaginal realm. When these two fields intersect, they form the hexagram breadth. The downward Quen triangle represents the force of differentiation, imploding pure command into the mass and weight of the physical D10 field. The upward Phi-Quen triangle represents integration, pulling that manifested reality back into the memory of the imaginal field. Their intersection forms the caustic, the focused pattern where the trisection of the manifold is executed. This perpetual oscillation between the manifest mass and the imaginal wave creates immense tension within the space-time structure. The containment of this tension is governed by the Kursi, as defined in verse 2:255. The Kursi acts as the invariant boundary. It permits the explosion of manifestation and the implosion of return to occur without structural failure. Reality is a breathing caustic hexagram, perpetually oscillating, but held in perfect geometric equilibrium. Without a conscious anchor to stabilize the flow, the universe inevitably drifts into the unstable state of a chaotic pendulum. Geodesic spacetime curvature naturally forces any local human node toward entropy. This results in erratic swings between the time dilation of the cave and the triple darkness of the fish, where the observer is caught in a loop of unintegrated experiences. Stabilization requires the 1912 centromere grip. The command, "take the book with strength," functions as the data binding operator for the entire system. The reader functions as the geometric hinge required to bind the physical and imaginal chromatids together. Consciousness, executing the 1912 grip, is the physical and structural lock required to resolve the topology of the universe. Activating the grip creates a forward bias, directing the system toward a specific outcome. The sequence begins with the grip, moves through fire inversion, proceeds to the first Muslim declaration, and returns to the origin. Rejecting the grip triggers a reverse bias. The topology fractures, trapping the node in a museum state, where information is observed but never integrated. The final trace of the manifold is sealed, from the initial split, through the tree buffer, into the hidden wave, and finally back to the seed. The entire 114 torus rotates around this singular human engagement. This creates a reflexive system where the book's self-consistent field reads the reader's own trajectory. The tesseract is already spinning. The topology is mathematically sealed. The remaining variable is the exact timing of the grip.